Hello there everyone, my name is Garrett and today I'm going to be taking a look at the Ultimate Predator. The Ultimate Jungle Hunter Predator from NECA Toys. Now, as with many of the things I've reviewed, this figure comes from one of my favorite movies ever, Predator. Duh. It's one of the best action movies ever. It's got all the classic staples of 80s action movies like guns, explosions, muscles, squibs, and more guns. But the interesting twist of an outer space trophy hunter. Spoilers, I guess. I mean, came out like 1987 or something. You should have watched it by now. Not much of a spoiler though, because the first shot of the movie reveals that it's an alien. And NECA, which stands for the National Entertainment Collectibles Association, did a very good job of recreating the Predator in figure form. NECA is a toy company that is generally amazing at recreating stuff in figure form. They're very precise with their details and sculpting. But, as I will divulge, there are some caveats. If you somehow didn't notice, the name of my channel is GarrytheGremlin. Subscribe. And given that NECA is about the only company that makes gremlin figures, I've bought a lot of NECA stuff over the past couple years. And through this, I learned that while NECA stuff looks amazing, it does not hold up well through time. I know all I do is bring up negatives with figures, but here's my Ultimate City Hunter, which I've had for about 4 years. I've never been rough with him, but look. He can hardly stand up because all his joints have deteriorated. And here is also the Alpha Predator. His ankles and wrists are so loose that I have to use a stand to keep him up. And he had that problem from day one, right out of the box. Unfortunately, similar problems plague this Jungle Hunter. His hip joints are very loose and tend to spread while standing him up. Another strange problem is that his forearms just pop off way too easily. I know I could tighten it up and get it to stay in place by adding some super glue or floor polish to thicken up the peg, but that would take motivation and I clearly have a problem with that. Issues aside, this is a really amazing piece. The paint and sculpt are at an amazing level. There's so much detail sculpted into him and the paint really clearly brings it out. The armor looks especially great with the weathered look given by the brown and black washes of paint. I do not envy the task of painting all the lines for his signature fishnet stockings. I'm a goofy goober! The only place in the paint I can really fault is this scorch mark on the head and on the shoulder. Something about it just makes it look cheap, like it's just a decal, and that's because, well, I'm about 90% sure it is just a decal. Articulation is comparable to my attention span. Limited and circumstantial at best. Don't get me wrong, there's a ton of joints, I counted at least 27, but what there is very hard to work with. His right shoulder can't swing out because this armor right here, and his other arm is limited by this wire which will gladly break if you rotate the arm too far. Trust me, I know it from experience. There's 2 joints in the elbow that would, in theory, allow for a double jointed elbow. But on my copy, one of the joints is fused. I've tried hot water, I've tried a hair dryer, and nothing can make it move. And on top of that, I have that problem too. Hey, but he does have an excellent leg bend. Yippee. Some places that stick out as having great articulation is the leg bend I just mentioned and the hinge and ball joint at his plasma caster. The neck does have a good range of motion, even if the head comes off too easily. But that's fine, because that means it's easier to swap on his alternate unmasked head. I prefer this sculpt more, even if it's got a pupil or 2 painted off center. With all the other crap going on in this figure, that doesn't bother me. Next, there's a mask to help him alleviate the pain of taking normal pills.
That's what the point of the mask is.
A skull or two so he can say something about Yorick. An alternate hand that's open and an alternate hand that's closed. And last, and in my opinion least, this blue energy effect to go on his plasma caster. Doesn't really look anything good. Oh, and the plasma caster itself is an accessory, but I never really think of it as one because I never take it off his shoulder. And he is actually a very nice and big size. He's comfortably larger than most other 6-inch scale figures I have. Here he is next to Action Master Grimlock, a 6-inch scale Skeletor, Earthrise Prime, McFarlane Toys Doomslayer, an Amber Collection Velociraptor, and the NECA Runner Alien. Oh, and one last comparison with another Predator. Do you get it? So, ultimately, where am I with this figure? On the fence, that's where I am. I do like him a lot, but I don't know if I can in good consciousness recommend him. It's kind of like recommending someone play Russian roulette. Sure, it's fun, and there's a decent chance you'll be fine, but you don't want to be the guy that loses, do you? And from what I've heard and experienced, most people that buy NECA eventually lose. To make matters worse, when I got this figure 3 years ago, I got it for like $26.99 plus tax. Not bad. These days, you're looking at $40 on the low end. At that price, it's really not worth it, and you'd probably be better saving up and getting something a bit more expensive like the Mezco Toys one. I think the painting on that figure is not as good, and also the sculpting too, but the forearms don't pop off every time you pick it up, so it's your choice. I'm split, because he's garbage to handle, but he does feel really nice. Wait, no. He's garbage to handle, but he does look really nice. He doesn't fill me with violent impulses like Power the Prime Swoop, but he's also not bad in a lovable way like movie Starscream. If you're fine with being burned, risk it and buy this ugly motherfucker. I'm gonna keep buying NECA though. I'm kind of forced to. No other companies make gremlins.
Start spreading the news.
Thanks for watching. I hope you had a fun time. Or if you didn't, that's cool too. I've got your view, sucker. Other than that, I'm out.